Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's No Bowl Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Logsdon Brewing Company out of Hood River, Oregon. This beer is called Far West Vlaming, or Vlaming. Not really sure how that's pronounced. The description just says organic oak-aged tart red ale. And then really small down in the corner it says Far West Flanders style. So it's basically an American version of a Flanders. And generally I like Flanders, but to me they're really hit or miss. But the really good ones are the really good ones I love. And I have a lot of faith in these guys at Logsdon, so I wanted to give this one a try. Obviously, you can tell it's a 750 bottle, and it is 6.5 ABV. So, I'm going to crack it open here and see what we got. I made sure this was pretty cold, but it still might gush. I've opened their bottles like at cellar temp before when they weren't like refrigerator cold, and they always gush everywhere. Sometimes they gush even when they're at like 40 degrees. I didn't think this beeswax would be an issue because it's not like it's that really thick, like plasticky wax. It should go right through it. There we go. Okay. Yeah, they're one of the few breweries that actually use beeswax. I know New Glarus, when they did the 750s of the fruited, the fruit beers, they used to use it. But anyways. And I actually think these guys are probably the most underrated brewery as far as wild ales go that distribute in a pretty good part of the country. I don't know that I can think of anyone else who's doing these types of beers that distributes as widely as they do that's this good. The only other one I can even possibly think of is Firestone Walker. Some of their wild stuff's pretty good, and it's distributed pretty far and wide. Anyways, as you can see, this pours a cloudy, darker red to almost a brown color. I mean, it does look like an Ode Brune or a Flanders, other than maybe the fact that it's a little cloudy, with a an off-white to beige head. That smells really nice. It smells like a really, really good Flanders. So, I'm getting some brown sugar, some cherry notes, a little bit of over-ripened apple. It's a little cheesy. There's actually a little bit of like a caramel character, and then there's definitely some Brett there too, and a little oaky. It doesn't have that like vinegary character that some Flanders tend to have, so I think this is going to be pretty clean, which I'm excited for. Yeah, so the one thing with Logsdon stuff is usually the aroma is a little misleading. It always smells like it might end up being more tart than it is, which is the case with this too. I mean, you can definitely tell that it's a wild ale. I mean, it has, well, I guess Brett beers can be wild ales too, but you can definitely tell that there's probably pedio in this, but pedio or lacto, but it's not like very tart. It is like a really, really deep, I said like a caramely character, but it's almost like chocolatey. It's darker than caramely. It's almost like chocolatey. And then there's a lot of dark cherries going on, some Brett and oak. It's not quite as funky. I mean, it has the Brett character, but it's not like cheesy funky as I was expecting given the aroma. Like I said, not only does their stuff come off as you're like expecting that it's going to be more tart than it actually is, it also their stuff is always really dried out. And sometimes it's almost to the detriment to the beer. Like, I really like dry Brett beers, but sometimes theirs like can get too dry. But that's not the case with this. It definitely is dry, but it still has some of that nice like dark cherry and apple fruity character that Flanders usually have. But it is really, really contained and has a really nice dry finish. And I guess the only thing that I would not complain, because it's not even a complaint, but the only thing I would wish this had different about it was I wish it had a little bit more funk, just a little bit more like barrel character and a little bit more cheesy character. But I'll sacrifice giving up a little bit of that if it means none of that vinegar and being like super clean and easy to drink. Excuse me. So I will honestly say this is one of the best American Flanders that I've ever had. I mean, in my opinion, it's up there with some of the ones that New Glarus has done. And Flanders is one style, even if there's breweries that are really, really good at just like general American wild ales, Flanders is one style that is really, really hard to do well. Because, like I said, it's very easy to have that like vinegary character in them. So many of them have that, but when you can find one that has all the other qualities but not that, they're really gems. And I'll probably be doing a review for it at some point in time. But Fauna Flora just came out with a Flanders that was really nice too. But I really, really like this. I honestly, well, two things. One, I don't know how much this costs in general. Two, I got it for half off from a store that was closing. So, and I did look at on the bottle. It says, I think they generally so they have a best buy date, not a born on date. But I think it's generally 5 years out, and this is 2021, so this was probably in March of 2016. So today's March 1st, so this is 3 years old at this point. So I don't know what this was like fresh, but my thoughts are that it's gotten better with age, because I would not assume that I would not specifically assume this had any age on it. There's no signs of oxidation or anything like that. It might have just cleaned up a little bit, which I will say is probably a good thing for the beer. Man, now that I take another sip, I'm getting like this like earthy, perfumey character too. There's a lot of depth to this beer. It's very, very good. And you know, I'm sure this is probably available to a lot of people who might watch this video, because I know they distribute at least from the Midwest and West. And I think they pretty much distribute anywhere. I think they're distributed through Shelton, so anywhere Shelton distributes, which is a lot of places. I would recommend picking this up if you like wild ales in general, especially if you like Flanders. I think this is a very, very good American interpretation of it, so I really like it. I'm glad I picked it up, and I would definitely buy this again if I was in the mood to drink a Flanders. It's very, very good. So I think that's all I got in this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.